Canadian National situation. There were many that started with us in the beginning, and in the middle of the night, some fell off. We held on to the very end with the county and were able to really do fairly well for a community that, according to the FRA, wasn't impacted at all by the Canadian National acquiring the EJ&E, which we all knew was ridiculous. Many people know, I know the board knows, many people know there was an issue on the tracks, between Nelson and Gougar with the Canadian National. It was a derailment. There were a couple of cars. Fortunately, they weren't carrying anything. Two were empty, one had plastic. They didn't tip over, they just had the wheels come off. I've spoken to some residents that live there on Andrea who told me that that train was traveling at an excessive speed, and they live there and they say they normally don't hear it, but this they heard. And we don't know what happened. I know there's an investigation into it. I have to believe when a train is moving at that speed, it's rocking on the tracks, and that may have been what caused it to hit another car. We're speculating, but that disturbs me that at 3:30, quarter to 4 in the morning, a train was traveling at a high rate of speed. Now, whether or not that was the sole reason or if it was even a factor, I can assure you that we are on top of that. But the truth is, local government has we have no control, we have very little say in what happens with the federal railroads. There have been a few instances in the last couple months with Canadian National derailments, and the other ones were far more serious than this. We're all concerned because, number one, if that wasn't 4 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday and it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Wednesday by Lincoln Way West High School, that could be tragic. We have those homes there that are right off the railroad tracks. That certainly could be tragic. I've contacted our congressman again. I know there is some pending legislation, but one of the pieces of legislation that I saw that's out there is to move all the freight traffic out to the suburbs instead of Chicago, to get it out of the city and move it out here, because if there is a catastrophe, there's more density in the city, and so there'll be less casualty. So, we don't want to hear that, but that's some of the conversation that's going on. And we'd also be naive to think that with the president's former chief of staff being the mayor of Chicago, that we have as much sway in the federal government as the city of Chicago does. We wouldn't have it anyway, but certainly now. So we are just as concerned as the residents in the community and everyone else that sees that. And I can assure you we're doing what we can to represent the town, but we wouldn't be truthful with you if we told you it was some fix that we had. We have secured funding for first phase engineering over there on Gougar Road, but again, for an overpass or an underpass, but that's not our road. That's the county's. We can't build that. We don't have the jurisdiction there. And the frustrating thing, and we've all seen it, not only in this town, but in every town, people complain, nothing's done, somebody's killed miraculously, stoplights go up, and everything else happens. I'm hoping to God that doesn't have to happen before the federal government breaks loose of some money and helps the county out to put an underpass or an overpass. And that wouldn't make a difference in a derailment. That just helps with people getting from the south side of town to the north side and back and forth. But with this incident, we may be lucky that it was so minor, but it would draw the attention that they are saying, hey, what are the speeds that the trains are traveling there? What's happening with the switches? I know with the cold, everybody, even Metro's had problems with the trains.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, I know. You got pushed here by another train today.
Yeah, I did.
I know you did. I know that's what you're saying. So
He's still pushing.
Yes.
Nice, Butters. But we are very, very concerned about it, and we are representing you the best we can. But again, a lot of it's out of our control. So.
I was going to save it for my comments, and then you start talking about it. But my blood was boiling today, Mayor. I left the house at 5:30. My son needed to go to wrestling at Lincoln Way West at 6 o'clock, so he likes to get there early. So we left at 5:30. I'm thinking I could see it. It's 2 minutes away. It took me 28 minutes, and I know this because my son was freaking out telling me, hey, I'm gonna be late. 28 minutes to go from Laraway Road to there because Nelson Road, I saw the train go and I said, well, I'm gonna go to Gougar. Went over to Gougar. Well, by the time the one train left and another train started coming by, well, they must have got the message. Maybe they were traveling too fast because I'm not kidding. This train was going about 1.2 mile an hour. And it was almost like they were doing it purposely. Finally, after 20 minutes, I sat there, I turned around, went down, went all the way to to Cherry Hill, came up and beat the train. I would have still been sitting there. And that's unfortunate. If we had an accident on the south side of town, people would be dead. There would be a heart attack victim dead before they could even get to the hospital. It'd be faster to drive to Morris. And somebody has to open their eyes and pay attention in Washington, because we can't just have people say, yeah, it's good to get it out of Chicago, let's basically screw the suburbs. And it was very frustrating today, and I know it's frustrating for residents, because you see it, people post it on Facebook, and there's nothing you can do when you feel helpless. We do everything for the community. Anything that's in our control, we can control and we help, but you feel helpless as an elected official when someone asks you, what are you gonna do about the trains? Nothing. That's just sad.
We voice our opinion, we scream and we holler, but at the end of the day, we can't make that decision, you're right.
You're right.
And they were because I talked to the chief. Chief got a text from me at 7 o'clock this morning because it was blocked again, but they were working on the tracks again today.
Yeah, they were out there.
Yeah, they were out there working again. So not only were they slow today, Ray, but they were working again on the tracks. So,
And if they're behind because they have a lot of freight that couldn't get through over the last few days, send them through at 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning. Don't line them up, right at rush hour, one after another. I mean, they're going this way, they're going that way. It's like, come on.
look,
Then they derail.
That's the only stretch with two, right by Country Creek is the only stretch with two rails.
right, you're right.
They'll be
You're
putting the
right.
second one in, so you have them parked there, and that's where they move over. So-
Yeah, and we asked them, can you put it in the industrial park, can you do that sort of thing, and they don't. And the other frustrating thing is the chief and I were talking that Sunday of the derailment is they were working to fix it, and then the crew had put in their maximum amount of hours, so they had to go home and wait for a new crew. Now, if you know what the maximum amount of hours is, don't you think the new crew would be ready to take over when you've exhausted yours? Chief, your shift is working 12 hours. The second shift doesn't wait for them to get done before they get out of bed. They're ready to go. But when you are the Federal Railroad and you are the biggest group in Washington and you can do whatever you want, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, so. All right, that's all I've got. Oh, since we've had the lowest gas prices for the last 2 months, I guess I don't have to, I've got something else we can holler about.